stepped inside my house and froze. The entire living room was covered in screenshots of my affair. The TV played a slideshow of my secret messages. A single sheet of paper sat on the couch. Divorce papers. Then my husband's voice came from the speakers. I stepped into my house and froze. The living room was plastered with screenshots of my affair. The TV displayed a slideshow of my secret messages. A single sheet of paper sat on the couch. Divorce papers. Then my husband's voice came from the speakers. I never imagined it would come to this. I thought I was careful, discreet. But there it was, my entire betrayal laid bare in our living room. The walls echoed with my husband's voice, narrating my deceit, my lies, my infidelity. I stood there, numb, as the reality sank in. He knew. He had known for a while. And now he was leaving me. The divorce papers were the final nail in the coffin of our marriage. I wanted to scream, to cry, to beg for forgiveness. But I knew it was too late. The damage was done. I had betrayed the man who loved me, who trusted me. And now I was facing the consequences. I sat down on the couch, the divorce papers in my hands, and listened to my husband's voice as he recounted every detail of my affair. Each word was a dagger to my heart, a reminder of what I had lost. I don't know what the future holds, but I know one thing. I will carry the weight of my betrayal for the rest of my life. I couldn't stop staring at the divorce papers. My hands were shaking. My throat was dry. My whole body felt cold. I sat on the couch, watching the TV as it cycled through screenshots of texts, Instagram DMs, hotel receipts. Every dirty little secret I thought I had buried deep, he had dug up. He even had a timeline, matching photos from my work trips to GPS pings from my phone. I didn't even know he had access to all that. His voice kept coming through the speakers. Calm. Dead calm. That hurt more than if he had screamed. I loved you, his voice said. You were my best friend. My partner. I trusted you more than anyone else in the world. But I'm not stupid. He wasn't. Clearly. He had spent months collecting evidence. Not just screenshots. There were audio recordings too. Conversations I had with him. The other man. The one I told myself I cared about, but not like I cared for my husband. At least, that's what I believed at the time. I don't even know if that was true now. Maybe I just liked the attention. Maybe I was selfish. But the worst part? It wasn't even the evidence. It wasn't the slideshow or the public humiliation he'd just handed me in our own home. It was the note he'd left beside the divorce papers. 4 words. Written in his clean, neat handwriting. You broke us forever. I didn't even hear the front door open. I was too wrapped up in guilt and shame. But when I finally looked up, there he was. Not my husband. The other guy. I jumped to my feet, wiping my face. What are you doing here? He looked around the room. At the walls. At the TV. He didn't speak for a second. Then he muttered, Jesus. I didn't know I didn't think he'd find out like this. He looked at me like I was something disgusting. You told me he didn't matter. That stung. I didn't say it like that. You said he was distant. That he didn't make you feel seen. That he forgot anniversaries. I didn't know what to say. Because yeah, I said those things. Maybe I even believed them. But I also remembered the time he stayed up all night to make sure I had soup and crackers when I got the flu. I remembered the way he looked at me when I laughed at my own stupid jokes. I remembered everything now. Too late. Then came the twist. A twist I never expected. He contacted me, the other guy said. What? Your husband. He found me. He sent me everything. All the screenshots. All the recordings. My heart dropped into my stomach. He what? He told me he didn't blame me. That I probably didn't even know you were married at first. I didn't know whether to scream or cry. That's not true. I told you from the beginning. He nodded. I know. I told him that too. So why would he reach out to you? He took something from his jacket pocket and handed it to me. A thumb drive. What is this? He said you'd need it. When everything fell apart. I plugged it into the laptop. There were folders, labeled with dates. Inside were pictures, videos, us, me and my husband, vacations, holidays, birthdays, even just dumb little clips of us laughing in the kitchen or arguing about what movie to watch. Memories I forgot we even had. And then one more folder, labeled, The Day She Changed. Inside was a journal, typed, from my husband. He had tracked everything, from the first time I seemed off to the first time I lied about where I was going. He wrote about how he blamed himself at first, about the therapy sessions he booked that I never showed up for, about the nights he cried in the guest room so I wouldn't hear. I had no idea. I sat there reading every word while the other guy stood awkwardly by the door. I didn't care that he was still there. I felt like the walls were closing in. And then it got worse. He said one more thing, the other guy added. I looked up. He said this was just phase 1. I blinked. What does that mean? He said you'd understand soon. And with that, he left. I was alone again. Completely. Utterly. Alone. And I had no idea what was coming next. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. I sat on the floor for hours, laptop in front of me, scrolling through every single thing my husband had saved. Watching videos of us laughing, cooking, walking through that park in Maine where he said he'd marry me again in a heartbeat. That was only 2 years ago. 2 years. It felt like a lifetime. His journal entries read like slow heartbreak, the kind that doesn't crash, it rots. Quietly. A death by 1,000 little cuts. I didn't just cheat on him physically. I chipped away at him emotionally, every time I rolled my eyes when he tried to talk, every time I turned away when he reached for me. Phase 1. Those words echoed in my head like a gunshot. I called him. Of course I did. The number went straight to voicemail. I texted. Nothing. By morning, I was paranoid. Had he told our friends? Our families? I checked my phone, expecting messages, insults, maybe threats. But silence. No one said anything. Not even my sister, who talks to me almost every day. My inbox was dead. Then I opened social media, and that's when everything changed. My husband, or I should say, ex-husband, had posted a video. Not just to his page. He had created a whole new profile, titled, How I Found Out. It had nearly 400,000 followers overnight. The video? It was a 10-minute documentary-style breakdown of our relationship. How we met. How he fell for me. How he started to notice the changes. He blacked out names and faces, but anyone who knew us would know it was me. It was edited like something out of Netflix. Smooth transitions. Soft, haunting music. Footage of our home. Screen recordings. Voiceovers. He had even layered in therapy sessions he recorded, with his therapist, explaining how he tried everything to fix us before realizing he was the only one trying. My stomach turned, not just from guilt anymore, but from fear. He had weaponized the truth. And he did it well. By the end of the video, he said something that chilled me to the core. Forgiveness isn't for her. This story is for the people who've been lied to. You're not crazy. You're not unworthy. You just loved someone who didn't love you back. The comments were wild. People calling me every name in the book. Others sharing their own stories of betrayal. It had turned into a support group for the heartbroken. He wasn't just getting revenge. He was becoming a hero for every person who'd been cheated on. And then, 2 days later, my job called. HR. They were investigating a breach of conduct. Apparently, someone had emailed my boss with screenshots. Same ones from the walls. Same ones from the TV. And then it hit me. My husband hadn't stopped at home. He was burning it all down. Phase 1 was exposing me. Phase 2 was ruining me. I tried calling him again. Still nothing. I started to lose it. I took down all the screenshots he had taped up. Tore them off the walls like that would change anything. I unplugged the TV. Threw the remote. Screamed. And then I saw the envelope. I had missed it before. It was taped under the coffee table. My name on the front, in his handwriting again. Inside, a single piece of paper. And a picture. The paper read, "You thought I didn't know pain. But I do. You just never asked." And the picture? It was from a pregnancy test. Positive. Dated 8 months ago. That was the last time I remembered him being really distant. Cold. When I asked him what was wrong, he just said he was stressed. I didn't push. Now I knew why. I stared at that photo for what felt like hours. It was like my lungs stopped working. He had never told me. Never mentioned it once. And I hadn't noticed. Then another realization hit me like a train. If the test was dated 8 months ago, where was the baby? Or was there ever a baby? Was this real? Was it another twist? I had no way of knowing, no way of asking. Until a few days later, when I received a legal notice. Certified mail. Not divorce papers this time. Custody paperwork. But it wasn't from him. It was from her. A woman I had never met. Her name was Rachel. I had no idea who she was. But she knew me. She was listed on the papers as the temporary guardian of a baby named Noah. His son. Not our son. His. Born 3 months ago. I don't even know how to describe the feeling. Like the floor beneath my feet had vanished. Like my reality was breaking apart and reforming in a way that didn't make sense. He had moved on. He had a child. And yet, he was still playing this long game of revenge against me. And that made me realize something terrifying. This wasn't about closure. This was about destruction. And he was just getting started. I didn't eat. I barely slept. My mind was spinning all the time. 1 minute I thought he was the monster. The next minute I knew it was me. That's the thing about guilt. It doesn't come in waves. It wraps around you like a second skin. You can't peel it off. You can't forget it's there. He had a child. He moved on. But not really, because I wasn't just being erased, I was being unmade. Every part of me, every lie I told, every text I sent, was turned into a weapon. And he was still firing. Rachel, the woman who had custody of his baby, never responded when I tried to reach out. I sent emails. I called the number on the paperwork. Nothing. I even showed up at the address listed. But she didn't live there. That's when I realized I didn't just lose my husband. I was being hunted. 3 weeks after the video went viral, I was fired. The HR review didn't even go deep. It didn't have to. The company didn't want to deal with the attention. I walked out with a cardboard box and a migraine that lasted 2 days. Friends ghosted me. My own sister told me she needed space. My gym membership was canceled. No explanation. Every door closed. One night I opened a new browser tab and typed in the name of the YouTube channel my ex had used. It was still growing. He had turned it into a full series. Rebuilding after betrayal. There were episodes. Interviews. Clips from podcasts where he was a guest now, talking about healing, resilience, trauma. He never said my name. He didn't have to. Everyone knew. Then something changed. He released a new video, different than the others. It started with him standing in our old kitchen. He filmed it himself, like some kind of final chapter. "I think it's time I finish this story," he said, looking directly into the camera. I didn't want revenge. I wanted answers. But when I couldn't get those, I took power back the only way I knew how. Then he talked about the baby. About how he found out I was cheating just a week before he got the results from a DNA test he didn't even know he was waiting on. The baby wasn't his. That wrecked me. Not because I thought the baby was mine, he wasn't. I had nothing to do with that child. But because I realized the reason for all of this, the spiral, the rage, the pain, wasn't just my betrayal. It was his heartbreak. He thought he was about to start over. Thought he had something new to live for. A son. A second chance. And then life yanked that from him too. I broke his heart. Life crushed it. And the only thing left for him to do was make me feel everything he had felt. And he did. He won. But the ending wasn't that simple. Because after the video, things turned again. His followers started to turn on him. They said he took it too far. That pain doesn't give you the right to ruin a person's life. That making someone disappear socially, emotionally, financially, wasn't justice. It was abuse. The comments section exploded. Half still stood by him. But the others said they were starting to feel sick about the whole thing. People started digging. They found clips where his words didn't line up, where timelines blurred, where stories felt too perfect. They found out he created some fake accounts to fuel his own comment section, to stir hate. They uncovered that Rachel, the woman who had the baby, was actually someone he dated years ago. The baby wasn't hers either. She had been paid to file the paperwork. Just enough to shake me, to throw me off. None of it was real. It was all part of phase 2. And phase 3? It came in the form of a lawsuit. I filed it. Defamation. Emotional distress. Harassment. The truth started to unravel. Slowly, but it did. I stood in court, pale, thinner than I had ever been, my voice shaking as I read out the timeline of what he did. No jury cried for me. But they didn't cry for him either. We both lost everything. Our marriage. Our peace. Our reputations. But he crossed a line, and the law saw it. He was fined. He lost control of his YouTube channel. His sponsors pulled out. His face disappeared from podcast thumbnails. No one wanted to be tied to it anymore. The irony? I didn't even want revenge anymore. I just wanted silence. Now, I live in a small apartment in a town where no one knows my name. I take long walks with no headphones in, just so I can hear the world again. I work in a bookstore part-time because it's quiet. No one talks much. Sometimes people ask if I ever loved him. I always say yes. And if they ask if I regret cheating, I say yes to that too. But I also learned something else. When you break someone's heart, they might shatter yours in return. But vengeance doesn't fix what's broken. It just passes the pain along. And some pain? It sticks with you. Forever.